everybody, Stephanie Boulay here, registered dietitian for Coastline Elderly Services. And today we're going to be doing two different recipes, a honey roasted carrot and peas and pancetta. So these recipes are perfect for any kind of family gathering, if it's the holiday season, any kind of gathering. These two dishes are so simple, and a lot of times you have these things already in your house. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to make our carrots first because they take long in the oven, about 30 minutes, depending on the thickness of your carrot. I have my oven on at 375 degrees. I sprayed my pan here. I laid my carrots out. So now I'm just going to make the dressing, okay? So I have a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. And I've got 1 tablespoon of butter. Now, any of these ingredients you easily can change out, do whatever you like. I've got some apricot preserves in here, our secret weapon. So delicious. It's going to add a really great flavor to our carrots. And also some honey, some local honey I was able to get. Here we go. Some balsamic to help give it a little bit of balance here. And then our spices. So I've got some thyme. I've got some garlic powder. I'm telling you, your guests are gonna love this. Carrots in a whole new way. Absolutely delicious. I've got some ground mustard, some cumin, and then salt as well. Now, if you're trying to watch your sodium intake, you don't have to add the salt. No worries. All right, so we're just gonna mix this really well. Okay. And like I was saying earlier, depending upon the thickness of your carrots, if they're really thick, try to cut them lengthways so that way they don't take as long in the oven. But, the smaller they are, it won't take as long. Now it's a little thick, that's all right because you got your preserves in here. Here we go. And once it gets all nice and hot and roasted in the oven, actually I'm gonna use my little guy here. Love this guy. Whenever I'm baking, I love using him. Okay. So you're just gonna mix your carrots all in here. I'm just gonna get my hands on in. There we go. Right? It's always a good idea to get nice and messy in the kitchen, right? All right. I wanna make sure that every carrot has this delicious sauce in it. Okay. There we go. Oh, it smells so good. The honey, the apricot preserves. So yum. Hold on one second. Okay, so now I'm gonna put them in my oven for 30 minutes. All right, so now I'm gonna start on the peas and pancetta. All right, I'm gonna turn this on here on a low heat. Okay. I love peas. I absolutely love peas. I always have a bag in my freezer because I feel like they just add such a beautiful color to any kind of dish, and I think they're really underrated. I gotta tell you, that's just my own personal opinion. So when I saw this old world Italian recipe, peas and pancetta, I said, oh my goodness, I absolutely have to try this. All right, so I have this on here. I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil to it. Here we go, just a couple of tablespoons. Okay. And I'm going to cook the onions and the pancetta first. Okay. Throw these in my pan. There we go. Just give that a little bit of stirring here. All right, so now while this is cooking, I'm going to start cutting my pancetta. So If you go to your local deli store, you can see if you can get it fresh. You know, if you get it a little bit thicker, sometimes it's nice to dice it. Mine didn't have any, they just had it in a prepared package, which is totally fine. So you're only going to use just 2.5 ounces of this. Okay, I know it's a little crazy. A dietitian who's using pancetta? Oh my goodness. Well, again, you know, you're not going to use a lot. This is just a side dish, right? So again, if you don't want to use some parts of these recipes, that's quite all right. Okay. You're trying to watch your sodium intake. No worries at all. You do not have to include this, but a little bit is all right. You haven't guessed over, you want to try to impress, am I right? All right, so now I'm going to add the pancetta in. And again, if you only want to use just a little bit, no worries at all. It's going to add a really great flavor. Dress up these peas, put them in the spotlight, and people will be talking about how much they loved your peas recipe. But if you do end up trying this recipe, make sure you put a comment below. I'd love to hear about it. Okay. All right, so we want to cook these first. And you want the onions to get nice and caramelized. Okay, so we're going to cook these for just maybe about 5 minutes. And this will take you no time at all to make this recipe and wow your guests. Okay, so while this is cooking, what I'm going to do, I have some fresh mint here. It smells amazing. Oh, it smells so good. And I am going to add it. You don't want to add it right now in the beginning because it's so delicate. So we're just going to add it right at the end. Okay. Nice and small. Julienne, as they say, huh? Julienne. I've never grown my own mint, but I have friends that do, and they tell me it grows wild. So for those of you who have mint that's just growing wild in your yard and you can't seem to get rid of it, well, this would be a great way to use all that mint that you have. Okay. It smells so good already. Just a little bit of pancetta goes a long way. All right, so it's been a couple of minutes, so now I'm going to add our peas. In you go, my friends. Yeah. Now, some people for this recipe, they add the peas in right in the beginning, but it tends to overcook the peas. You don't want to overcook the peas. So it's good to add them towards the end. And now they're going to absorb all that wonderful flavor that we just got from all of our onions and a little bit of pancetta that we put in there. Look at that. So beautiful. Absolutely stunning, and such a simple, simple dish. Hardly took any time at all to make. Okay. All right, so now I'm just going to add my fresh mint here. Nice and fresh. Oh, it smells so good. I'm telling you, you guys are going to love this recipe. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of pepper. Whoop. Some fresh ground pepper here. Just a touch of salt. There we go. One more mix. All right, so my carrots are done. Just gonna pull them out of the oven. There you go. Now if you have a little bit of parsley and you can add a little sprinkle to that on the top. I actually used the tops of the carrots. I'm just gonna add a nice little garnish to it. Just looks really nice for the presentation, you know. Okay. For my peas, I'm just gonna pour them onto my plate right here. Such a simple dish, beautiful presentation, great flavor. How can you go wrong? Put some on my plate here. Some are sticking to the plate, and that's all right. There we go. Well, thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys use these for your next family get-togethers, your dinners, or a Sunday lunch. If you do make the recipe, please be sure to write in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. And as always, thanks so much for tuning in.